There's a function called help that allows us to access documentation for different functions and different methods in Python. As a reminder, let's look at something like absolute value. So I could get the absolute value of -4. And if I run that, I get 4. Okay, that's not surprising. Here I can say, help on absolute value. So there I put the function name. And when I run it, it tries to give me information that's helpful to me. Here, I think most of the information is helpful. Other times we're going to find information that is less helpful to us. So here it says absolute value x, /. And the really thing that is helpful to us is it says it returns the absolute value of the argument. From what it looks like here, it almost looks like we could provide absolute value like a number and then something else. Maybe I'll put a string there. So here I want you to think, it actually looks like it's saying it takes 2 arguments. It doesn't. It says it takes exactly 1 argument, 2 are given, and that / actually has a different meaning. The x is essentially the variable name. Whoever wrote the function absolute value, abs, they said, the parameter name is going to be x. So you have to provide a single value like we did up there. So for now, we can just ignore that /, but we'll come back to what that means. And it means that the values I provide before that / have to be positional. It just means they have to be in order. And the order that it expects. Here it only expects 1. Remember, we were able to call the function length or len. And here I'll pass it a string. Okay, and so remember that returned the length of the string. I also could call it with a list. I can ask Python how len works by saying help and then putting len in there. And it says return the number of items in a container. And it has that same thing. It expects 1 argument, and this is saying nothing else, essentially. Let's look at something like print. Print was different because I could say hi, and then I could say bye. So I could pass it multiple arguments, and actually it's happy with 3 arguments or 4 arguments. Even it's happy with 0 arguments. Let's look at what len of print gives me. Oh, that's funny. I said len. I meant help of print. Okay, so the first variable name it has that's the parameter it picked. That's the value. This ... means that it actually can take any number of arguments. And that's how we saw above that we could say things like just print hi with a single argument or actually any number of arguments there. We just separate them by commas. In contrast, len did not have that ... You can only provide it 1 argument. And we can try and read this. So it prints the values to a stream or to system standard out by default. And then it has some optional what's called keyword arguments, a file. We'll get to files a little later. A separator, so that's what's put between the values. As we can see in our example here, it puts spaces in between them. End is what is the last value, and by default, it prints it on a new line, such that if I printed these in the same block and I run it, it separates them by a new line. And here we can see the variable name, and here's the separator. There's the default separator value, and here's the variable end, or the parameter end, and its default value. We can experiment with these things. Okay, we know what that's going to do. It's going to print A, B, C, D all on the same line and separated by spaces. If now I add separator, and I'm going to say what that separator is, and I'm going to say it is ... Now when I run it, those spaces are replaced with whatever I put there. So if I put an X there, I see X's. If I put a new line there, then I would get them all on new lines. Okay, so this allows me to modify the original value of the separator being a space, and I can set it to be whatever I want. So these are known as what's called keyword. And let's compare that one to if I just deleted that SEP equals and I ran it, oh gosh, it just prints that because it doesn't know I want to say, for that keyword variable SEP, assign it that dash. And you can experiment with this one to see if it makes sense. The ones that actually is more common, and I think we've shown you before, is when we're printing multiple things. Print by default, it adds a new line. How that actually happens is it adds that /n, and that variable end is what's appended or added to the end of the last value, and it defaults to a new line. If I don't want this to be on a new line, I can say, end is equal to, and instead I'm going to put it equal to 4 dashes. So now instead of between printing A and B, it having a new line, it's going to put those on the same line and add those 3 dashes. I didn't modify end for the B, so it still just put a new line after it. I think the most common is sometimes we just put that the end is an empty string and then it puts them or glues them right next to each other or prints them right next to each other. Okay, so far we've talked about what that slash means. Everything before it has to be provided without listing that variable name explicitly. It's just based upon the position. Then we saw ... That meant any number of arguments. And I think we've really only seen that in a print function. And then here we saw these keyword arguments. It shows us the default there. These ones are also keyword arguments, but are a little more complicated. We're going to just ignore them for now. We can work with this SEP in the end. Okay, so we've seen the slash, the ... and those keyword arguments. And these we've been talking about functions. Let's look at strings because we know we can call methods on strings. So remember here we were calling a function on the string and it gave me the length, but I could also have a string and I could call a method on it. And there what I'm doing is I put the string, a dot, the method name, and then parentheses. This one doesn't take any argument, so I just have the parentheses. And when I run it, it gives me a string back, and it's made each of the characters in it uppercase. We could have defined some variables. I'll say s is equal to that string. Then I could say output is equal to s.upper. And then let me print output. Okay, so we're going to essentially see, oh look, it says string object has no attribute upper. Sorry, I have a typo there. I had 3 P's. Again, when you see this red, jump to the bottom and try and read that thing out loud to yourself. I'll run the code again. Okay, there it works. And here it's called on a string. It's maybe a little clearer on that example. It's called on a string. The method name is upper and it takes no arguments. Let's look at help. And we actually can say, hey, for string, show us the method upper. This part should make sense. Return a copy of the string converted to uppercase. We've seen this slash saying, oh, the stuff to the left, you just have to put it in order. It's positional and we don't use keywords. But here it's even a little bit weirder. This variable self is actually a keyword. And so in that first example, self is really that A, B, C, D. It's that string. And so when we see in our help self, that just means, oh, we actually don't provide that, but we call it on that thing. So I could have something like, oh, well, those are already up. Those are already lower. I could turn that into lower. And again, if I look at the help, we'll see it's got that self. I don't provide self. I just use parentheses to call the method. But here we can think of this one as not taking any arguments. And again, the most important or useful thing is that description. So I'm trying to make this part make sense. But usually when you use help, you're just going to be looking at that description there. So here we said help, and for a string, I want to look at lower. You can imagine help for list, I want to look at append. And now instead of having only self, again, we never provide self, it takes an object, which makes sense. If I have a list, I can say append yo onto that. And it didn't print it by default because append modifies the list rather than returning the list. Store it. Yeah, so let me create a list. Let me call append on it. Again, that'll return none, because it sort of functionally doesn't return anything. It just modifies the list, and then I can print the updated value of my list, and it's hi by yo. And what I can see is, okay, I don't pass self. That's essentially the fact that I'm calling it on my list. I do pass object, and in this case, that object is yo, and then that slash means everything to the left has got to be provided in order. With that caveat, that self we never provide. That's just saying, yo, call it on something of this type. With list, there's like a lot of methods we can call. Let's look at not the help for a single method, but let's look at for help for everything in list. And some of this stuff is not going to be useful to us. Okay, I hit run. Let's look at this. It's got a bunch of stuff that at first is sort of not that helpful. For now, just skip all the things that have 2 underscores in front of them. And we're going to scroll down. And finally, we get to things that are helpful to us. So a lot of these you've seen. Append, here it takes 1 argument and it appends that object to the list. Clear takes no arguments because it only has self and it removes all items from the list. Copy takes no arguments and it returns a shallow copy of the list. That just means it returns a list, but if the list contains lists, it doesn't go up in those and copy those 2. Count takes 1 argument, the value, and returns the number of occurrences of value in that list. You've seen a lot of these, right? Extend, it takes 1 argument, That variable name is iterable, and it extends the list by appending elements from the iterable. Here we can see an example of some keyword variables. So its default is to start at 0 and to stop at that value. Here's insert. It takes 2 arguments, right? Because we don't provide self. Pop, I think, is a good example. Let's look at that one individually. So I can say help list.pop, and then it shows me just that one. And I'll start my list with hi bye, and I can say print the pop my list dot pop. And if I pass it the argument 1, it's going to pop the second element, because remember that's index 0. So if I run it, I get bye. If I pop 0, I would have gotten hi. And if I pop with no argument, it uses -1. So I get actually the same thing if I pop at -1. And the reason is here I have an optional argument. That means I could provide it using that keyword syntax, right? I could say index equals 1. Oh, whoops, sorry. I wasn't thinking about the fact that it's to the left of the slash. So actually I can only provide that one as positional. So it has to just be in order. But it does show me that I don't have to provide it. And if I don't provide it, what the value it uses is. So if I provide -1, then it uses -1. If I don't provide anything, then it uses the default value which here is still -1. It can be really helpful also to read this whole description. That indented part tends to be the most helpful. Raises an index error if the list is empty or index is out of range. So if I said 5, you can see I get an index error, pop index out of range. Okay, jumping back up, when we do help on something like a list, we are going to see some stuff that's like a little overwhelming and not that helpful at first, right? The underscore stuff, I think just ignore. Go to where you find no underscores in front of them. You can see the descriptions, that's the most helpful. If you see it only with something like self or a slash, that means it takes no arguments. Whereas if it has self plus another variable, it takes that argument. Here's an example where it takes 2 arguments. Here's an example where it can take 1 argument. You can provide a value for index, but if you don't, it'll use -1.